Okay, I'm gonna make another video. This one's probably gonna be on the shorter side. I have quite a few videos lined up and planned. It's just that I don't have too much time because I have family over and so on. But for all the new subscribers from Benedictine's Live and so on, thank you for the subscription. Thank you for the support. I just wanted to make a little video, a short video, just to upload something in the meantime. And probably next week or so, I'll start really recording like proper thought out videos and planned out videos. But this one's just going to be a quick 10-15 minute one. But it's still going to be a good topic though, nevertheless. Essentially, the title of this video is that there is nothing to get in life. And I think that a lot of the suffering that people experience is suffering that they inflict on themselves, is suffering that they cause to themselves because they believe it's possible to get more than they have already. Like, that's a fundamental assumption that they're acting upon. Like, if you look at 99% of society, what's everyone doing? Like, I could reduce it and boil it down so easy. Everyone is trying to get more. That's it. It doesn't matter if like they was trying to get a house or a car or a girlfriend or a promotion or a holiday, whatever it was just more than what they already had. You see, if you have like 100,000, you want 1,000,000. If you have a 2-bedroom house, you want a 4-bedroom villa or something. You see, you always just want more than you have. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. That's just our natural conditioning as a human race, right? And that's what's got us so far. Like, we wouldn't have these tall buildings, we wouldn't have the internet, we wouldn't have any of these things if we didn't have that innate drive to get more. If we, like 1,000 or 2,000 years ago, if you believe in evolution, it doesn't really fucking matter, but let's just go with evolution for now. Like 1,000, 2,000 years ago, if we was just there happy, or like probably like way further back, but like in the hunter-gatherer days or whatever, like if we was just happy with clean water and a hut, like a straw hut or like a mud hut, if we was just happy with that and we felt complete, do you think we would have gone on to like start building fucking cement or brick buildings? Would we have gone on to create fucking skyscrapers made out of glass? Like, we would have never done that. Never. So we need that drive. That drive is not like necessarily a bad thing, right? I'm just saying that you have to be able to see through it. You have to be able to see through it. And that's what I want to essentially speak about. So, again, most of you are probably new as well. I say this in all of my videos, I really would recommend you watch my first 3 videos and even just some of my earlier videos, because that's where I explain a lot of like my base understanding and like my base insights, and all of these other videos are being built on top of that. So there might be certain words or certain phrases that I say and you have a past connotation because some other YouTuber said something else or meant something else when they said that. But now, every time I say that word, you think I'm saying this, but I'm actually not saying that. I'm saying something else. So it really would help if you watch those videos if you are interested. But essentially, if you accept, right, like if you're highly conscious, you'll realize that reality is nothing, or is nothingness in a sense. And you don't even have to have realized that or even believe it. That's not even necessary for what I'm about to speak about. you could think that reality isn't zero or nothingness. You might think reality is actually like it's substantial, like substantial above zero in a sense, like as if existence arose. Like once there was nothing, but it's not nothing now. Like now there's something. That's what most people think. Most people think that now there's something. It came from nothing, and that something arose out of nothing. That's what people think. And they think that right now we're in like profit. Like they think we're above the baseline. They think we're above zero, but we're actually not. We're still at zero. See, when you believe that we are above zero and that this world is substantial, then you're going to think that you are substantial. You're going to think that your body is made out of substance and that like it's solid and you really exist and it means something. You think that like this is made of substance, and because you identify with this body which appears to have substance, if you are attempting to expand yourself, right? Like if you look at animals or dogs, like dogs, they'll be pissing on that tree, or this animal will be doing this, or they'll be fighting each other. Like it's all about territory, right? And territory is just because each of them are like, you have your own border, like your own domain, and everyone's trying to expand their domain in a sense, right? So if you wanted to expand your domain to expand yourself, like that's the same thing, like moving from a 2-bedroom house to a 3-bedroom house to a 4-bedroom house. Like, see, you're just expanding yourself essentially, and all through your possessions. See, because your possessions, like this human body only grows up to a certain amount, right? So then you start to expand yourself through your possessions. See, now you have a big house, now you have a big car, now you have this. So you're expanding like that. It's not like you kept on growing, but you're still trying to expand in a sense, right? And how can I put this? If you identify as a physical being out of material or out of substance, when I'm saying substance or material, it's all basically the same thing. You think that you're made out of stuff. You think you're made out of something as opposed to nothing, right? So because you believe you're a material being, if you want to expand yourself, you're going to want to expand by attaining more material. You're going to try and get more stuff because you think you're stuff. And you think, if I want to expand myself, then I need more stuff. And the more stuff, the better, right? But you're not even stuff though. You're not even substantial. This is why it doesn't matter what new iPhone you got or what new car you got. You're going to be happy for a few hours, if that. Like maybe a day or something. Hey, well, most of the time it's going to be disappointing, but you won't even want to admit it. So you're going to still act as if it's making you more happier than it actually is, right? But see, enjoyment or like these peaks, like pleasure, it's a peak, right? It's above the baseline. So you can't stay at the peak forever. Like after the peak, the valley follows necessarily. Otherwise, like if there's not a valley after, then it wasn't a peak, right? Do you get it? Like if there's not a valley like after, then it's not a peak, because the peak has to be like above. So there has to be a valley at the edge of every fucking mountain peak. There's a fucking valley, right? There's a bottom and there's a top. So, and I'm not trying to use that to say that suffering is more fundamental, because I also think that people that believe that are also wrong. Like suffering is not fundamental. Pleasure is not fundamental. Neither is suffering. They're both transitory. Like the moment the valley happens, a peak is gonna follow. Like how many times have you felt shit? Like felt like it was gonna be like that forever, and then the next day or a couple hours later, you start feeling a bit better. See, like it's impossible to stay in like the valley forever. Otherwise, it's not a valley anymore. Now it's just a base. See, both peaks and valleys are deviation from the baseline. Neither of them are ultimate. Both of them are partial. You see, essentially, I'm going on tangents now, though. Yeah, see, you're not a substantial being. You're not a material being, but because you believe yourself to be, and you believe the world to be material, you think, if I want to expand myself and capture more of the world, then I need to start hoarding material. Or it doesn't even have to be material. You might think, all right, cool, yeah, it's not material, but then you might even have transcended the belief that you're a physical being. Now you might just say, I'm just energy, or I'm just consciousness, but still, you still think that you're a subjective perceiver with a point of view. Like, you still think that there's someone here observing, whether you call it your soul or the energy or consciousness. It doesn't even matter if you think it's not matter, because it's still the same thing. You've just substituted it with a spiritual connotation now. See, you still think that there's someone here perceiving. So now, instead of identifying more with material, you're going to start identifying more with memories and perceptions and experiences, which that is, in a sense, like a higher level than just trying to hoard matter, like dumb matter. Like, what the fuck's matter gonna do, right? But still that's also mistaken. Like, trying to experience more. Like, you think, experiencing more and having more memories means that you're capturing more of life. That's also false, because you're not even a subject. You're not a perceiver. You're not perceiving anything. Right? So, trying to expand by trying to get more material, or trying to get more experiences, through perceptions. See, because even when you start thinking, my perceptions, having experiences, so you're still identifying with your five senses. Like, you still think that you have senses, but you don't even have senses. The five senses, that's an illusion. Like, you don't have five senses. Like, you don't even have one sense. Like, you have no senses, because there's nothing to sense. There's nothing other than yourself. Right? See, this is where you need to watch my earlier videos. See, it's not like there's black, which is the object, and then you, which is the subject, and you're looking at black. Like, no, there's not an object, there's not a subject, but black is black nevertheless, because everything is itself. Absolutely. See, you really have to watch my earlier videos to understand anything I'm saying. But essentially, my whole point of this video is that all of this stuff that I just said, I stand by it and it's correct. And if you listen to it properly and you watch my older videos, then you'll start to understand why. However, you could even disagree with all of that. It doesn't matter. You could disagree with all of that. You could think, no, we do live in a substantial world. Maybe we did come from nothing. Maybe I originally was nothing, but now I'm something. Or now the world exists. It may have come from non-existence, but now it exists. All right, cool. It doesn't matter. But please explain to me how something came out of nothing. How did it go from 0 to 1 or to 2 or to 3 or to 1 million or 1 billion? How did it do that? If you look around at life, it appears like there's billions of humans, right? Millions of different species, insects, animals. How did it go from 0 to that? To quadrillion, gabillion, however many fucking things that exist. How did that happen? How did it even go from 0 to 1? See, it's going to be impossible for you to even come up with an explanation, because it's impossible. Nothing can arise out of 0. See, even if you think that I'm talking bullshit and that there is a substantial existence, but it came from 0, see, because no one can really deny that it must have came from 0, right? Because where else could it have come from? You know what I'm saying? Where else could reality have come from? If it didn't come from 0, then you're essentially saying that it always existed. Sorry, one sec. Yeah, so essentially, like, you can't really deny that it came from zero because let's say you say it started at five, or it's like there always was everything. Then, see, where did that come from? Like, you can't, like, do you get what I'm saying? Where did everything come from? It had to come from nothing. And when you really look at it and you realize, yes, it had to come from nothing, then you'll start to realize that actually it's impossible for anything to arise out of nothing, and in fact that we still are at nothing. See, because like think about like if you're at zero and you try to like add, you're starting from zero and you have nothing to add but zero, right? Like you don't have one, like one doesn't exist yet, so it's just zero. So zero plus zero is zero, right? And let's say you take zero and you times it even by like a million or a billion or a trillion, it's still zero, right? Like anything times zero is zero. So you don't have anything but zero to add. And whatever you multiply zero by, it will remain at zero. You see? So it's just like literally, truth is true, existence exists, but it's nothing. Like it exists as nothingness. I wouldn't really say nothing, I would say nothingness. That seems more accurate to me. Nothingness. But yeah, see, I just had to explain the metaphysics a little bit because once you realize that reality came from nothing, it is nothing right now, and it could never be anything but that. And we're not actually in a substantial reality. We're always at zero, but these appearances, which appear to be substantial, are just temporary deviations. Like they're not even deviating because you can't deviate from zero, but they're apparent deviations away from a baseline. Like they're apparent deviations away from an apparent baseline. I know that sounds tricky and it sounds like I'm just making shit up, but so yeah, once you accept that reality came from zero or from nothingness, it is nothingness now and it always will be nothingness. So everything you see is nothingness, including what you believe yourself to be. And zero plus zero is zero. Zero times any number is zero. So like literally, like if you're starting from zero, realize that you can't like get away from that. Like it can never just like 0 to 1. Like it just can't do that skip. You get what I'm saying? So essentially, it can appear to deviate, but then every deviation is limited and partial. And that's why, for example, like that's what it's like. And literally every deviation, it kind of happens in a sine wave. So you see, like it can only peak so far before it hits a valley. It can only go so low before it like inverts back. You see, so there's no such thing as like a like you can never like be born and die with less than you were born with. That's impossible. Like you might think, oh, like I was born with $0 and I died in debt. Like debt, that money is imaginary. That's just a human concept. That's not really anything real. You can't like be born and die with less than you were born with. And you also can't die with more than you were born with. You see? Like literally at every single moment, you're always in the middle, always in the same place. Like you can appear to deviate above, but then it's going to come back. You can appear to be below, but then it's just going to equilibrium again. It's literally just a dynamic scale. So, but as I was explaining earlier in the video, if you still believe that this isn't zero or this isn't nothingness, you think this is a substantial world, then you're going to think you're substantial, and you're going to think that hoarding and accumulating more substance will add on to you. But really, just check your own life. Like, did that mobile phone add anything onto you? Did that experience, that holiday, did it add anything onto you? Yes, maybe you had memories, but like, are you your memories? See, are you your experiences? Like, there's literally just nothing to get. That's what I'm trying to show you. Like, what can you get? Like, what can you get? First of all, you're nothing. Reality is nothing. Everything you see is nothing. So, like, what is there to get? There's not even anything to learn. There's only one thing really to learn. Well, not even. Well, it's just one thing to realize. One thing to realize, and that's it. So, this one was a bit of a rambly episode. Probably not one of my best. Because I didn't really plan anything out, but I just wanted to make something quick. But if you rewatch it again and again, or not again, but if you rewatch it a couple times, then I'm sure you'll understand what I'm saying, and I'm sure a lot of you are starting to realize this yourself as well. Like, you thought one time you wanted to go on a holiday, you did that, and then yeah, it was alright, but man, wasn't all that. You thought you wanted a girlfriend, you got that. It wasn't what, like, see, and the mind always just thinks the trick that the mind plays is just saying, yes, I thought that that's what I wanted, but turns out it wasn't that. Like, it's something else. See, that's the trick that the mind's gonna say. It was just like, I thought that's what I wanted. I thought that's what would complete me, but it was actually something else that I wanted. Now I need to search again. But actually, no, you got exactly what you wanted, but it wasn't enough. And nothing will ever be enough, because you're acting as if you're operating on the fundamental assumption that you're alive, which means you have to do something and achieve something and get something. All of those assumptions are wrong. You're not alive, you don't need to do anything, and you don't need to get anything. And the other assumptions are, that there is something to get, and when I get it, it's going to make things better, or it's going to add on to this experience. And both of those are also false assumptions. So yeah, I think I'll leave that one there, and let me know what you guys think about that one. And quickly, I just wanted to conclude that essentially, if you were to ask, like, how does that help? Like, yes, like, I already know that there's nothing to get in life, there's nothing to do, but how, like, does knowing this help? Like, how could that help me prevent suffering? Well, very simply, is that a lot of the suffering that you're experiencing is being caused by chasing things that you think you want or you think you need, but you actually don't. Like, you may be suffering right now because you're doing overtime at work, because you think you need to get this amount of money because so that you can get that girl which you think you need. You don't need that money, you don't need that girl. Obviously, I'm not saying you don't need it, you shouldn't do that. You can do whatever the fuck you want. I'm just some guy on the internet, right? But I'm just like explaining it to you. Or you might be going to the gym 7 days a week. I'm not saying this, you shouldn't go gym. Gym's good. But you might be going to gym 7 days a week or 6 days a week whilst doing overtime at the same time, because you think you need that money. You think you need to be looking like this Instagram model or whatever, so that you can get that fucking that Instagram looking woman or whatever. So you want that kind of, I'm thinking, I need that to complete me. See, and it's just, how can I put it? The more valuable a thing seems to be, or is like perceived to be by the collective, like, for example, a beautiful woman or a mansion, land, all of this kind of stuff, all of these things that the collective consensus reality agrees upon is highly valuable, all of these things are extremely hard to attain. So if you're adamant on needing those things just to be happy, just to be satisfied, then you're going to be suffering a lot, because you're going to have to pay with a lot of pain to attain all that pleasure that comes with having an Instagram wife, like an Instagram model wife, or like a mansion, like, you know what I'm saying, in LA on the hills. All of that's gonna be nice and fun, but do you know how much pain you're gonna have to go through to get that? Do you know how much you're gonna have to sacrifice to get that? It's gonna be a lot. See, so essentially what I'm saying is that right now you're operating on the belief that you need to be doing something, you need to get something, and that there is something to get. And in the pursuit of that, you're causing yourself a lot of suffering. But once you realize that there actually is nothing to get, and even if you got that, or it seems like you got that house, like when I say it seems, I'm saying you, like, let's say as a human, you really did get that house, like you signed the contract, you own it now. So like in the outside human world, it looks like you own that house, like you own the house, right? It's not even going to complete you. It's not even like you didn't even get it. Like, how can you get a house? Like, you can only just look at it. You can be inside the house. You can't fucking own it. Even a girl, like, how the fuck, like, you can speak to a girl, you can have sex with her, like, you can't fucking have her. You can't, like, you know what I'm saying? People act like you can be with her, like, you can't be, like, relationship is psychological. There's no such thing as a relationship. Like, there's, like, once you start to become construct aware and you can see how all of these things are just imagined distinctions in your mind, then it is very easy to see through. But when you still think that these are physical, like real things, then like, I'm just going to sound crazy to you. But yeah, see, essentially, you think you need these things, so you'll keep on chasing them. And you're causing yourself a lot of suffering in the process. But if you actually realize that there's nothing to get, then you won't have to like go through unnecessary suffering. That's the problem. I'm not saying you can attain a life where you're going to have zero suffering at all, but it's just that most of you are causing yourself way more suffering than you need to, and you don't even understand how or why. It's because of your own desires. So, yeah, that's essentially how. So, hope you kind of understand that. Let me know what you think.